started as a last-minute getaway. My boyfriend Danny had been acting distant for weeks, quiet, withdrawn, barely making eye contact during dinner. So when he suggested we spend the weekend at his sister's place in the Superstition Mountains, I jumped at the chance. Maybe the time away would reset us. It's peaceful out there, he said. No cell service, but the stars are unreal. Like something ancient? That phrase stuck with me. Something ancient, like a warning wrapped in a promise. We arrived late Friday afternoon. His sister's cabin was tucked at the base of a jagged ridge, surrounded by brittle sagebrush and towering saguaros that cast long, eerie shadows. The place felt old, not the charming, rustic kind of old, more like tired, used up. I felt it the moment we stepped out of the car. A heaviness in the air, like the ground itself didn't want us there. I told myself I was imagining it, but deep down I felt weird. Like my instincts were whispering you shouldn't be here. When I asked where his sister was, Danny casually said she was visiting her son in Globe and have left us the place for the weekend. That should have made me feel special, alone, no distractions. But instead, I felt exposed, like we were being watched. That night, the wind moaned around the cabin, threading through the walls like it knew every crack. We lit a fire on the porch and sipped cheap wine under a sky so full of stars it looked fake. For a moment, I forgot about the weird feeling. But then I heard it, a low whistle, just 3 notes. Not a bird, not the wind. It sounded human. I froze. Did you hear that? Danny didn't move. It's probably coyotes, he said too quickly. They mimic stuff sometimes. He was lying. I could see it in his eyes, but I didn't push. I just sat there, staring at the dark line of trees, wondering why my stomach had twisted into a knot. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I crept out of bed and peeked through the window. That's when I saw it. Something was standing at the tree line, tall, thin. Its limbs looked off, like its joints bent the wrong way. Its head tilted, and I swear it was watching me. I blinked. It was gone. I woke Danny in a panic. There's someone outside. Groggy and annoyed, he grabbed a flashlight and stepped onto the porch. Hello? He called out into the dark, but there was only silence. He turned back to me, jaw tight. Nothing's out there. But he double-checked the locks. The next morning, Danny was even quieter. We hiked a trail that wound up behind the cabin. The superstitions loomed around us like sleeping beasts, their rocky faces unreadable. That's when we stumbled on what looked like an old ruin. Just a circle of stones, maybe from a fire pit, but there were strange symbols carved into the dirt, not drawings. Marks. I crouched down to look. What do these mean? Danny grabbed my arm hard. Don't touch anything. I jerked away. Why? You're scaring me. He hesitated. It's probably sacred. Just don't mess with it. But I knew there was more. He wasn't just scared of disrespecting something. He was scared of waking it up. That night, I had the worst dream of my life. I was walking through the cabin, every room pitch black, the light switches dead. Voices whispered behind walls. Scratching sounds followed me. I opened the front door, and it was there, the same thing from the trees, but this time it had Danny's face. Only it wasn't quite right, too smooth, too stretched. It opened its mouth and let out a scream that didn't sound like him at all. It sounded like a coyote being strangled. I woke up gasping. Danny wasn't in bed. I checked the kitchen, nothing. The porch, empty. Then I heard it. That same whistle, 3 low notes. But this time, inside the house. I backed into the hallway. Danny? No answer. I crept to the bathroom. The light flickered beneath the door. I knocked once. No answer. I opened it, empty. But the mirror, there were handprints on the glass. Not fogged from steam. Smeared in something dry and reddish-brown. Then I heard Danny's voice calling from outside. I'm out here. I froze. If he's outside, who was whistling inside? I opened the front door and saw him standing by the trees. "Babe, come look at this," he said, his voice flat, too flat. The way he held his arms, stiff by his sides, it didn't look right. And then I realized his mouth was moving, but the words I heard were mine. He was mimicking me. "This place gives me the creeps. Did you hear that? Where's your sister?" Over and over, I slammed the door and locked it. Seconds later, I heard the back door creak open. I ran upstairs and barricaded myself in the bedroom. I crouched in the closet, clutching a fireplace poker, heart slamming in my chest. Footsteps dragged outside the door. Then I heard it whisper, "Let me in," not Danny's voice. Not anyone's. It was hollow, like the desert wind was trying to speak. The door banged once, twice, then silence. I must have passed out. When I woke up, sunlight poured through the window. Birds chirped. Everything looked normal. Danny was downstairs, making coffee like nothing had happened. I lost it. "What the hell happened last night?" "There was something out there." He looked up calmly. "You had a nightmare." "You were talking in your sleep?" He handed me a mug. "Drink. You'll feel better." I didn't. I pretended everything was fine. We packed and left. But as we pulled away, I looked in the rearview mirror and my blood turned to ice. Danny was standing on the porch watching us leave, but Danny was driving the car. I blinked. Nothing. I told myself I was just tired. But since we got back, little things have been wrong. Danny says things he shouldn't know, things I've never told him. Sometimes I wake up and he's standing over the bed, just staring at me. Once I caught him in the mirror. His reflection blinked, sideways. They say skinwalkers wear the skins of the ones they kill, that they mimic voices, faces. I always thought those stories were myths, campfire tales. But something out there followed us home, or worse, maybe it didn't follow us. Maybe it replaced him. Last night, as he lay sleeping beside me, he whistled in his sleep. 3 low, haunting notes. "I'm leaving tonight." But before I go, I had to write this down, because if something happens to me, I need someone to know. I thought I knew better. I thought I was safe. But something in the Superstition Mountains is real, and it's wearing my boyfriend's face.